everyone. Welcome back to Baggage Claim Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are in season 5. I can't believe it's been a whole year since I've gone live with Baggage Claim. The end of 2021 nearly sucked the life out of me. So I took 2022 as my year of healing. And I took what I considered an amazing journey of me. I focused on my wellness, my mind, my body, my spirit. I took time to just reflect on some of my lived experiences. I processed life where I was and thought about my future, discovered some things about me that I liked, some things that I didn't like, some things that I should have been celebrating. I took some time to even grieve in ways that I hadn't done in the past. Loved on my family and even got some travel in. So as you can see, I have a whole lot to share and I'm back to tell the story. And I do hope that you will find these episodes to be helpful for wherever you may be in your season of life. As always, there will be mental health tips, there'll be education, and I hope that it will be beneficial for you as you join us on each episode. So, are you ready to take this journey with me? If so, let's go live. Hey everybody, welcome back to Baggage Claim, Unpack Your Bags with Dr. Danita. It's been 2 weeks, so I missed you all and just glad to be back. As you're coming in, you know what you do. Go ahead and begin to like and share. Give us the thumbs up. When you give me the thumbs up, then I can go back and see who was watching with us. And so, you want your friends and family to be able to experience this episode. If you've been a Baggage Claim fan for a while, you know that these topics are worth sharing with people and that they can be helpful for people who want to grow in their mental and emotional health. So go ahead and start to like and share. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So that you can get the notifications when these lives are uploaded to YouTube. So we're going to get started tonight. Oh, I see my friends are coming in. Hey, Courtney, thanks for joining tonight. My family are my fans. Karan, Kevin, Arnell, happy birthday, hubby. Happy birthday to my guy. Today is his birthday, and thank you for letting me push the festivities to tomorrow so that I could do this live on tonight. Hey, Tiffany. Thanks for joining. So, tonight we are going to talk about the topic Wired That Way. And before I get into the topic, I'll just say a little bit about why I've been having these topics. I've been on this journey of me, as I shared in the opening. And people wonder sometimes, I think I shared, my sister says, why do you share all your business on Facebook Live? And I was just saying to her that it helps me when I hear people's stories and when I, listen to different things that people have experienced and how they dealt with their challenges or overcame certain things in their life. And I'm a helper. I'm a passionate people helper. And I feel like the Facebook platform, I don't know how many people end up watching, but it's going to be there years down the road. So it can help people way down the road. And so this is a way that I can share what I know and share my experiences and help people broadly rather than, the one at a time that I see in the counseling room. And so that's why I do what I do, because I believe that the human experience is not all that unique, although our specific experiences may be unique. Thematically, we all go through the same stuff. So tonight we're talking about Wired That Way, and I will preface this night by saying my anxiety level is up to here, because this is the first time that I'm doing the show by myself. And I'm thinking, oh, no guests. I usually just have all these questions that I ask, and then I listen to their answers, and then I bounce off of what they have to say. But to have to do the whole thing on my own is very anxiety producing, and it also aligns with my personality to be anxious like this, and I'll share a little bit more as we go along. I'm not typically an anxiety filled person, but situationally my anxiety can be through the roof. So just let you know that, and if I start rambling, it means that I'm letting my nervousness get the best of me. So you can just type in there and say you're rambling. And so that'll bring me back on task. So have you ever wondered why you do what you do? Have you ever wondered why you react to certain situations the way that you do, and it's different from the way maybe your family members do or people that you're in relationship with, how they handle things? You ever wonder why you perceive life in ways that you perceive life that other people may not? How you do relationship may be very different from, or how you engage in relationship, your thoughts about relationship may be very different from someone else's thoughts. It's all a matter of how we are wired. And so when we talk about wiring, we're really talking about how we really basically how we were born, the characteristics that we were born with, the traits that we were born with, and how it all comes together to make our unique selves. When we talk about wiring, we're actually talking about our personality types. And so tonight, I am going to share with you some of the things that I found out about my personality type. And I've taken personality tests throughout the years. There's so many out there. Personality tests, primarily the ones that I took, were for the work environment. They have those personality tests so that you can take them to see, how you fit within the work environment with the other people that you're on a team with. But they have personality tests that help you to determine how you navigate intimate partner relationships. They have personality tests to help you just understand you as an individual. And so when I mentioned in the other lives that I had decided to go back to counseling after my 2021 year, and hitting that wall, I decided to go back to counseling. And while I was in counseling, just different things that I realized I was really struggling with letting go or understanding, wanting to know why certain things happen, why certain people do what they do, or with my personality being so low key, how I ended up engaging or being part of some of the things that I was a part of. I absolutely do not love, I don't like drama at all. And I just kept thinking, how in the world did I end up in the middle of this person's drama, or being sucked into this or being sucked into that, and it's not even my personality, and then feeling like, why did I let myself get drawn into this mess? Or why did I allow that? Or why did I allow this? And then beating myself up. And so I took that journey. Part of my journey of me was to do some introspective work to really grow in my intrapersonal skills. So intrapersonal skills is the skill to be able to take a deep look, to take a deep dive into your own self, and to really process who you are, process why you think the way you think, or why you behave the way you behave, or what were you thinking when you had this particular reaction. It's a lot of reflective work. And to be honest, in this field, obviously reflective work is what we do, but I was very good at helping other people reflect and helping other people develop their intrapersonal skills. But I realized that I wasn't doing a lot of that work myself. And I think, what I have noticed in the field is that our field is not a whole lot different from other fields, like the hairdressers whose hair is a mess, but they do great hair, or the plumber who has leaks all over his house, but he's got other people's houses plumbing running very well. So I realized that sometimes as counselors, there's work that we need to do, even though we can do an amazing job with other people. And so I realized that at this stage in my life, I needed to do some more work and to really process life going forward. What do I want it to look like? How do I want it to be different? How do I want to show up as my best self? Because your best self is not always the same in seasons of your life, or in life stages, I should say. So I'm crossing over into another life stage. And so it's important, as we cross over in stages. When you transition into adulthood, you think of life differently. When you transition into your middle years, you think of life differently. When you transition and you start realizing that you have less years left than you had on the earth, you really start taking life from a different perspective. So I engaged in this journey and started to really think about why I do the things I do, why I take things so personally, why I hold on to things, why I get hurt the way I get hurt, and in different in different situations, why certain people can impact me in ways that other people don't. And so all of that was part of the work that I was doing. So in preparation for tonight, I did ask you all, thanks Kevin for the vote of confidence. I did ask you all to do the personality test. I don't know how many of you actually got an opportunity to do it. There's not enough time to do it in the show. But if you happen to, if you did have a chance to do it, oh, hey, Destin, thank you. If you did have an opportunity to do the personality test, I want you to start typing in the feed one thing or two things that you found out about yourself that you may not have known, like an aha. And I'm going to share some things that I rediscovered about me, and things that I am thinking about how I want to move differently based on what I know about my personality. So if you took it, let us know what you found out, what you think, or anything that you want to share regarding your personality type. So the one of the things that that we know in science. So a lot of times people say, well, I'm wired that way. That's just the way I am. And I don't think your wiring should ever be a crutch for bad behavior. It should never, you should never use the way that you are wired to say that people just should get used to it, or, you know, this is who I am and take it or leave it. That's a very negative attitude, and not a healthy way to show up. So one of the things that we know in science is that the brain can be changed. The whole concept of neuroplasticity, where the brain can be rewired. When you recognize who you are and how you move and the parts of your personality that don't necessarily serve you well, you can rewire that. You can develop new habits. It takes intentionality. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to change that and have no plan for changing it, and have no steps of things that you're going to do differently so that that part of you can develop or can change. So the rewiring of the brain does take work, but it can be done. And I really like this part of science because it aligns so well with the word. And as believers, when we say that when the word says that we should renew our mind and that our life will be transformed by the renewing of our mind, well, it's the same concept. And so when you say, well, I can't change that because that's just who I am, and you are a believer, then that means that particular scripture is not coming alive for you. And so, and it's a very day-to-day scripture that we're supposed to live by. And so a lot of times we don't make those connections, how science and the word really does align. And so I would definitely encourage you that when you do take the personality test, or if you took the personality test, that you take those steps to decide that you're going to improve upon those areas that would be considered on the list of weaknesses. So you know what? When you all comment in the chat, I don't even remember what I said. So Karan, you said it's also a common attitude, but I don't know what you're replying to. So I can't really speak to that because I don't remember what I said that you're replying to that. So anyway, so some things that I found out about me on this journey of me. My personality type is, well, with the 16, this particular assessment, I should say, my personality type is the INFJ-A. So the INFJ-A is the introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging personality, and the A means advocate. Okay, so Karan, you said a common attitude to say, take me as I am. Yeah, it is very common because people don't want to do the work for change. And change can be fearful, even in your unhealthy state. Your unhealthy state is what you're accustomed to. A lot of people don't even know they're unhealthy, but it's what you're accustomed to. And so even the idea of change being something to make you better, you're very accustomed to your abnormal, and your abnormal has become your normal. And so the idea of change could be very fear producing. But I always say, do it afraid. I'm doing this afraid. People, you probably can't tell how much is going on inside of me right now, but I'm going to do it afraid. So, introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging, that is my personality type. And I found out that my personality type is only one, make this personality type is the rarest of the Myers-Briggs personality types. And my personality type makes up only 1 to 3% of the US population. So I always thought, you don't fit in, girl. You are not like the others. And I always had that in the back of my mind. And like, that used to bother me, like struggling not to fit in, like to do things that other people do, but just literally to walk into a crowd and to be comfortable, or to be with more than 2 friends and be comfortable within a group, or to really process my thoughts and think you're not crazy to have these very conflicting thoughts. So when I found out that this personality type, 1, is often misunderstood. This personality type, we're more intense than the average person, and so therefore a lot of people don't get us, don't understand us. So again, we're very often misunderstood. And this personality type is said to be prone to a lot of contradictions, like we're walking contradictions within ourselves. And so what I mean by that is that we tend to be perfectionists, but we're also very easygoing. So how are you a perfectionist but easygoing? Usually perfectionists are very uptight. Uptight is not who I am. I feel I'm extremely laid back, but I am still very perfectionistic. Things have to go a certain way, or internally. I think it's more internal, and people don't necessarily see it. Internally, if things don't go the way that I pictured them to go, it does something to me inside. But by and large, I am a very laid back person, and a lot of things don't get me revved up. I'm not a high, I'm emotional. I'm emotional in that I can feel other people's pain, and I process my own emotions, but I'm not a highly reactive person, too much of anything. So that could sometimes, when people say things that they're expecting you to be like, oh, that is so great. That's just not me. I'm just not a big expressive person. And I could be very internally excited and very pleased and happy about a gift, or happy about something that happened with someone, but I'm just not overly expressive. And so, but that I can't use that as an excuse. If I am working with a client and they made an amazing amount of progress, I got to give them their high fives. I have to, be intentional about not just saying, "Oh wow, that was really good," because I could do that. I could be like, "Oh wow, that's good. I noticed your progress," and it doesn't necessarily that's as I'm saying it, would not necessarily make someone feel like I was genuine about their progress. And so, so that's an area that I have to move out of my comfort zone to be able to help someone else see that I really am happy about, what they have accomplished, or happy about their improvement. So, all right. Before I go on, Tiffany says, "Oh, Kevin, yes, I am definitely set apart. Thank you. I hope that's good." So Tiffany said, "I didn't know I was 96% introverted. It is interesting because as I get older, I have learned and loved to spend a lot more time by myself and exploring more of who I am." So Tiffany, yeah, I realize that I'm I don't think people think that I'm introverted, but I am. I can be extroverted when I need to be, but I have to be very comfortable in a situation to be extroverted. I can't just walk into a crowd and just show up. And I have to think a while about actually going to certain events or social gatherings. I could very easily talk myself out of one. But over this last year, that has been one of the things that I have been working on, because in what I do, I need to, especially trying to grow a practice, grow a business, I need to be able to network. I need to be able to get out there and meet people. And that's definitely not a comfort level for me, but that's part of, I can rewire that. It may not be comfortable for me today, but the more that I do it, it's called exposure therapy. The more that I put myself in those settings, I can become comfortable with. It could become a new habit. Hey, I'm going such and such a place. I'm going to show up. I'm going to walk in there. I'm going to be focused. I'm going to find somebody and start having a conversation, rather than walk in and wait for somebody to come to me and feel awkward, or just go and sit down real quickly. And I am being very intentional to walk into a space and intentionally pick someone that I can go and start having conversation with. So that's part of my growth journey. So to get back to some of the things that, let's see your practiced excited face. Yikes. Maybe at some point during this live, before we reach 8:30, I'll show you my practiced excited face. Right now, this is the best that I can do. Thanks, Kevin. Do it. It's fake right now. Kevin, you're making me nervous. I'm going to stick to the script that's in my head. That's the part that made tonight so difficult, because I'm accustomed to having a script, and to have to chat off the cuff is could cause me to hyperventilate. So Kevin, don't ask me to do anything else like that. I know, do it afraid. But anyway, more about my personality and what I found out about being a walking contradiction. So I said that we're perfectionists, but yet very down to earth. We're logical, but yet emotional. Usually people who are logical don't show the emotional part of them, typically. We're also creative, but yet analytical. And that's usually not the case either. People are usually creative or they're not, and they're analytical or they're not. So just recognizing how opposite I am at times from who I thought I was, sometimes makes me crazy. We also are considered thoughtful nurturers. And nurturing is a typical personality of moms, period. But moms typically are nurturing to their own children. My personality type, we tend to be nurturing to almost everybody who will accept our nurture. And so hence, so many people call me mom. I'm either Mom D, Mom Danita. I'm mom to a lot of people. And I love it. I love it when people accept me as mom and allow me to be mom. There's a lot of people that want to call me mom, but then when I want to be mom, or when I do what moms do, they can't handle it. But I'm not going to go down that trail. We tend to have a strong sense of personal integrity. So I'll give you an example. Several years ago, I went into Walmart and I made a purchase. And when I came out of Walmart, I was unloading the car and I had a pack of batteries that I hadn't paid for because they were sitting in the top part of the cart. And I was like, oh my God, I have these batteries. I didn't pay for them. I can't take these batteries home and I didn't pay for them. And I went back in and I told the girl that I got to the car, I hadn't paid for the batteries. No. Backtrack. I was late for getting someplace. So I was like, I can't take the batteries back now because I'm going to be late for where I have to go. So I went to where I had to go, and days later, I went back and took the batteries to pay for them. And the girl looked at me like I was crazy, like, you bought this date, you came in here days ago and you're bringing back the batteries. She's like, I never had this experience before. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but it's just part of my personality. Is my personality type is to have this strong sense of integrity. And so when anyone challenges my integrity, it takes me to another place because I pride myself on having integrity. Our personality type is also we're very insightful. We're not surfacey and superficial. I like to dig deep. And this last year, I took really a deep dive into my own self. But other than my own self, I like to help other people dig deep. And for a lot of people, that's hard because people don't really want to know about themselves. Because when you start to dig deep, you're going to uncover some pains, you're going to uncover hurts, you're going to uncover soul wounds, you're going to uncover things that you have kind of glossed over and continued on with life, or things you have stuffed and didn't ever want to have to process through. So it's not that easy to dig deep, but I feel like I know you can become a better you when you make a decision to go below the surface. I remember that Emotionally Healthy Spirituality with Pete Scazzaro. He had that whole pictorial description of how people tend to only show 10% of themselves or deal with 10% of themselves. He had a picture of an iceberg, and underneath the water was 90% of that iceberg, and above the water was the 10%. And he was saying that people typically only want to deal with the 10%, that part that you can see. They don't want to dig deep. And so it's in the digging deep that makes you more authentic. You can discover your authentic self. You can discover who you are and why you think the way you think. And, it will help you to be able to move forward with goals. People establish goals for themselves and don't even know who they are. How do you establish a goal for your life and you don't even know who you are, what you like, what you're good at? And so I think a lot of people just really didn't get an opportunity. I would say, speak for me, growing up, my mom was surviving. She was just trying to put food on the table and make sure we had a roof over our heads. So she wasn't asking us thoughtful questions. Our questions was, how was your school day? What's your clothes? Get your clothes out for tomorrow. Eat dinner, go to bed, that kind of thing. And so we didn't get an opportunity, or I should say, I didn't get, and I'll speak for myself, I didn't get an opportunity to learn those intrapersonal skills, to learn how to think about what I'm thinking about, to learn how to think about why I'm feeling sad, or to think about, what's my greatest desire in life? What are my dreams? People ask me when, when I talk about my business, when I talk about where we are and how it has grown, people say, "Oh my gosh, did you ever dream that, you would have this?" And I'm thinking, no, I was never really a dreamer. At that moment, I set my eyes on something and say, "This is what I want," and I go for it. I have goals, I have thoughts, but I'm not a big dreamer where I sit and I'm like, one day I'm gonna have, and one day I'm gonna do. When I talk about something, it's as good as done, and I'm not dreaming about it. So I never really developed that whole concept of thinking deep. I didn't develop it, I should say, in my formative years. Once I got into this field, I recognized how significant it is. So, back to the list. We crave authentic relationships. I don't do phony and fake. I don't do the relationships where people are just wanting to use me to get someplace, or, I don't do phony and fake. Don't work for me. And it's a real turn off. And when I find out that a lot of people don't know they're phony and fake, but when I find out that people are phony or fake, and I can very easily put up good boundaries and not have a lot of engagement, because I want you to just be truthful, and I want you to be honest, and I want you to just share you. I don't, and I'm not talking about the people that come to my office. Clearly, there's a lot of phony fake people that come to my office because they're hurt, because they, just haven't grown emotionally. I'm not talking about putting boundaries. I'm talking about in relationships. I need to have relationships with people who are going to be honest, who are going to be open, and who are going to share their authentic selves. Kevin, you're a lot like your mom. I know you don't do phony or fake. You have a little less of a filter than your mom, but we are a lot alike. The people that I put up my boundaries with, those phony fake people, I don't cut them off exactly like you do, Kevin, but yeah. Hey, Dion, thanks for joining. Hi, Arlene. Yvette, thanks for joining. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you. I'm glad you joined tonight, and I hope you're getting something out of this. I hope what this is doing, as I'm sharing who I am, is causing you to think more about who you are, because we all, have our own, even though we fall in these categories of personality types, we have our uniqueness as to how these characteristics manifest. So I'm hoping that you are thinking about who you are, how you show up, what your behavior, how your behaviors are perceived by other people. All right, so so with that authenticity, I not only want people to be authentic with me, but I want to be able to be authentic with other people. I want to be able to share my dreams and share my fears and share my concerns, and be okay with doing that without being judged or without having it thrown up in my face somewhere down the road. A lot of people don't open up to people because they fear that people will throw up in their face the things that they were open about, their weaknesses or their vulnerabilities. And so if I'm going to have a friend, I'm going to have a friend that I can share with and be vulnerable with. And it's so funny today. I've had Q, my friend Q, on the last 3 episodes. And one of the episodes we talked about our friendship. I have 3 friends, 3 BFFs that I can say anything to. I can share anything with. But we were laughing about our differences today. I was talking about, I'm going to do talk about my personality tonight. And she had another event tonight. And she was like, oh my God, I am so overwhelmed about tonight because I have to use a script. And I don't do well with a script. And I just started laughing because I came out of my office to say to her, I'm so overwhelmed tonight because I need to do this without just reading a script. And we just bust out laughing because we're just that opposite. The fact that I am not reading this word for word is really a milestone for me. So I like to be able to bare my soul with my friends. I want to feel accepted for who I am and not judged. And that's part of this personality type, the INFJ personality type. This personality type, we seek the deeper truths of life. We do have a good understanding of people's feelings and what people need. We have strong beliefs and values. Our value system is, very strong. We can be dreamers, but more than being a dreamer, we're doers. And so my family has always said, if it comes out of my mouth, it's as good as done. I don't really waste words. If I say I'm going to do something, if I make a promise, my kids have always known, do not ask me to promise them something in the spur of the moment, because I have to think it through. I have to know that I have the availability. I have to know that it's going to work for me. I have to know that, something else might not be, might not come in the way of me making that promise, because if I promise it, I am going to come through. And so I don't make decisions off the cuff. I really analyze and I really think things through. But in that, being analytical, which is also at the top of the list, being in control is at the top of the list of this personality type. It comes with its negatives as well, because being analytical, while it is a blessing, it can also be a curse when it comes to trying to navigate relationship. I often drive my husband crazy with my analyzing everything and not knowing where to draw the line. Because if you're analytical, you're just analytical. So you really have to be mindful. You have to really process. You have to really think. You have to really be intentional, not to analyze everything. And so, but I'm happy with being able to be analytical, because it helps me excel in what I do. It helps me to be able to move forward in my business. I just need to know how to navigate it in spaces when it's not needed. And so that's all part of my journey, all part of this growth process that I have been engaging in. You're laughing at me, Kevin, that I'm analytical and that it doesn't work well is that what the laugh is for? That it doesn't work well with my relationships? So I also enjoy, in this personality type, we enjoy helping people find their best selves, helping people to realize their greatest potential. And one of the things that I can be guilty of, and a lot of counselors can be guilty of, is wanting it more than the people that we are helping. And so those are things that we have to be very mindful of, because I can exhaust myself thinking about ways to help somebody grow and develop. And when I say help somebody, my help is not tangible help. I don't do well with that. I don't do well with jumping in and knowing somebody needs something, or going to somebody's house and helping them clean up, or doing dishes for. I don't do well with tangible things, but I do very well with helping someone work through their emotional stuff. I do very well with helping people think beyond what they're thinking, with helping people come up with another possibility, another solution, or another. I'm good with helping people brainstorm ways in which they can navigate their life. So, and I really want people to do their best and to be their best. And I remember when my kids were young, and I remember, Kevin, you're on the hot seat tonight. I remember, I remember when you were, I think, in the 4th grade, and you were bringing home these C's. And I was like, Kevin, you're a King's kid, and King's kids should excel. King's kids should want the best. King's kids should want, I'm just going on and on. And you're like, why can't a King's kid be average? And then you went to college and you were like, well, C's get degrees. And that internally was doing something to me. Like, no, you want to do your best, and you can do more than a C, and you can. And I never really realized, I thought that I was just trying to help my kids be the best that they could be. If I felt a C was the best that he could be, then I felt like I would be okay with that. But I'm not sure whether I would have been, because maybe the C was the best. I don't know. Only Kevin knows that. But where was I going with that? So he said C's get degrees. Oh, so I was going with the whole thing of helping people realize their potential. But I had to realize that not everybody's definition of success is the same one. Not everybody wants to go and climb the mountain and reach the pinnacle like other people, like I do. And so, so where one person can say C's get degrees, and I got my degree. For me, the first time I had just gotten married, and Arnell came in the room, and I was crying. And he's like, what's the matter? And I was like, I got a B. And he thought that I was crazy. But that's me. And that's the way I've always been. I just felt like I could do better. And that's just the way I've always been. I've always wanted more. I've always wanted the next level. But I had to get to the place where I could be okay with people in my space, or people I'm in relationship with, or people that I love, setting their own bars, setting their own goals, and setting, their own achievement levels. And it didn't have to be mine. And so that was growth for me. I think that I've gotten there. I think that, and I need y'all to say so, I feel like I got to, my success was being one of 10 that graduated out of 200 that started. All right. So I need my family to chime in and say that I have grown. I need that validation right now, to say that I have grown, and my success is my success, and what my family does. I high five them however high they want to go. If they want, wherever they want to go, I'm going to be their biggest supporter. But I'm not going to impose upon them my, you know, what I would want, you know, for them to attain. Thank you, Kevin. I don't know where that Quran is because he ain't saying nothing. Sounding really silent. And I know Kiara would be. Kiara's on vacation. My baby graduated. I know you all saw it on Facebook. She graduated with her degree in counseling. And when I tell you, she is amazing. She's been doing her internship here. And she just has a really good handle on being introspective on her own stuff. She went through a really good program and did the hard work that was necessary to get out here and be a good people helper. So anybody that gets my baby as a counselor will definitely experience a positive road to emotional success. So those are parts of my personality that I consider positive, the positive parts. I'm also, if any of you have ever done taken the Enneagram assessment, I'm an Enneagram 1. My personality type is 1. So I don't know if you are familiar with it, but the personality type 1, we tend to be rational, principled. We're judicial in our behavior. We usually have a desire for justice and equality. We're motivated by a strong sense of right and wrong. People with this Enneagram type, we are fiercely independent. Yeah, that part. I feel like I am very independent. It takes work for me to sit in a crowd. I prefer doing things by myself. I prefer to go shopping by myself. I don't need girlfriends to go shopping. I would go on vacation by myself if my husband would let me. The most he allows me to do, or I should say the most he is comfortable with me doing, and because he's not comfortable with me doing other things, then I try to honor that. But he will let me go up the road and check into a hotel just to decompress. But I would like one day to just take a vacation by myself, like out of the country. Yeah, I'm putting that plug out there, hon. Yeah, so I like to be independent by myself. I don't really like to rely on others. Yeah, I like to just get the job done in my timing, when I want it done, and how I want it done. And of course, that can be exhausting. So in my journey, I've been on this part of the journey for a while. It's 8:26. I've been talking a lot, y'all. I did this thing. I'm coming to the end. So I think that I have been doing a better job of delegating, especially at work, in my practice. And so in that regard, I am definitely growing. So let me skip to the weaknesses of my personality type, and then I'll offer you some tips on how you can grow in who you are and develop your personality, and then we'll end. So some of the negatives of my personality type is that I tend to be very sensitive to criticism when that criticism is about my either my authenticity, like people are saying that I didn't show up real, or I didn't tell the truth, or that those things really bother me. So I am sensitive to criticism. I'm open to feedback about a project or something that, we're working on in the office. But if it's about my personal being, I can be pretty sensitive. We tend to be reluctant to open up, except if we're, in within our very, very close circle, because we don't typically want to burden other people with our issues. We're usually the one that people bring their issues to, and we're okay with that. But of course, it can be very overwhelming if you are just taking on other people's stuff and not able to release with others. So that's something that I try to actively work on, unloading when I need to. And of course, every therapist should have a therapist. And so I do get those opportunities to unload. Being a perfectionist is a positive, but it also can be a negative, because while it's great to shoot for excellence, it can be very exhausting to run things over in your mind over and over and over again, to wonder if you did your best, to wonder if it could have been, if it could have been better. It really gets exhausting. I have 1,000 conversations in my head about a lot of things that have to take place, and how I'm going to do it, and how I'm going to navigate it, and how I'm going to get it done, and what are going to be the steps. I had 1,000 conversations in my head about tonight's live, and those conversations that I had, I don't think anything, maybe a few things that I thought that I was going to say and directions that I was going to take, was not the way that tonight went. So I'm very prone to burnout. This personality type is very prone to burnout, and we have to be intentional about self-care. It doesn't come naturally. We don't think about taking care of ourselves naturally. And most of you know that I have been on this self-care journey, and I have to be intentional about it. I have decided that I am tithing time to myself. So I'm working on giving myself 2 hours and 40 minutes a day. That's just for me. So right now I am up to close to 2 hours with my walking and meditation and some of the other things that I do. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited about the fact that I'm actually focusing on me, and not feeling selfish about it. Another one of the the traits of this personality is that we cry easily. And I never realized that it was actually part of my personality type. And that bothers me. It drives me bananas. I can cry in a meeting with my team, and it embarrasses me, like different things. I don't even know sometimes why I tear. I'm not crying like, ooh. I mean, many things make me tear. And sometimes it feels like it's an inappropriate time to tear. And so it is what it is right now. That's something that I am working on, but have not overcome that. Overthinking, difficulty getting out of my head, and I'm rushing through it now. I have to have a plan for everything, and some things don't need a plan. Some things you just need to enjoy just off the fly, just go and jump and do it. And that's very hard for me. Overanalyzing everything that I say and everything people say to me. It goes through lots of places in my head before I actually process and have a thought about it. So those are challenges that I am that are part of my personality type that I am actively working on, because I have goals that those things could be prohibiting factors for where I'm trying to go in life, where I'm trying to go with my business. So I'm just recognizing what I need to do in order to show up better, in order to be able to realize the things that I have in my heart to do. So if I could offer you some tips for helping you to develop your own personality in a more healthy way, I would say, one, know your own wiring. So in order to know your own wiring, you need to take a personality test. And so the one that is in the that's in the feed, or the Enneagram test, I looked for a free one, but I couldn't find one. But that's also a good personality test. So take your personality test. Get to know your strengths. Encourage your strengths. I am on this road of celebrating me and celebrating my strengths, and not just, living haphazardly and not recognizing what I'm good at, and celebrating those things that I'm good at. And so encourage your strengths, but also give grace to your weaknesses. Not grace to the extent where you don't do anything about it, but grace to the extent where you don't beat yourself up about it. Humble yourself in your weaknesses or about your weaknesses, so that you can say, okay, I'm being honest, I'm laying this out on the table, this is a weakness that I have, but these are the steps that I'm going to take to overcome this particular weakness. Knowing the personality traits of those that you're in relationship with also is extremely important. And I'm thinking about doing maybe a sit down with my family. Even though we're all adults, we're still growing. And so if we can, have dialogue about our different personalities, we can engage with each other in more healthy ways. So it will strengthen your relationship. It will strengthen your marriage, where you're bumping heads and wondering why he does what he does, and he's wondering why you do what you do, and why can't we come to an agreement in this. A lot of it is based on your wiring. Don't avoid the parts of your personality that you're uncomfortable about. And so engage and be okay with the exposure therapy. The things that you're not comfortable with, just start doing those things little by little, and monitor your level of comfort with it. And each time you do it, and as you continue to move forward in testing the waters and doing that thing that you were always fearful about or uncomfortable with, you'll find that your comfort level begins to become stronger. Create your own style. Be your best you. Nobody can be better than you. Be true to yourself. It's very exhausting being fake. And it's very exhausting trying to keep up with your fakeness. So be your authentic self. And journal. This is how I'm going to end. You can consider journaling, because there is freedom in journaling. And so I wrote this journal while I was during my year. It's called Set Your Body Free, Mind, Body, and Spirit, a journal to freedom. And in this journal, you get an opportunity to have some introspective work done, where there's reflection, there's times to think about what you're thinking about. There's some suggestions in there for how to grow mind, body, and spirit. And so you don't want to miss out on this. You can, Toya is going to put the link where you can purchase the journal. And if you buy it from my website, then I will personalize it for you. But anyway, I've had an amazing time with you tonight. I got through this, and I didn't think that I'm sweating, and you don't know, how I'm feeling inside, but I did it, and I'm excited. The next 2 weeks, I'm also going to be by myself. Next week is a tough topic for me. I'm going to talk about my grief journey. And I'm going to share, I have started writing a grief journal. I'm going to share about that, and I'm going to talk about how we navigate missing our loved ones. And that was part of my journey that I was on over this past year. And then the last week, I'm going to end with celebrating me, and just sharing all the exciting things that have happened for me, and I want you to celebrate with me. So I'll see you for the next 2 weeks. And thanks, Tiffany. Thanks for giving a shout out with my journal. Thank you, Bishop, for joining. We're ending now, but please go back and hey, Sheldine, please go back and view the replay. And if you are viewing the replay, please let me know. Don't forget to give those thumbs up before you log off, because then I can go back and see that you watched with me. Thumbs up or hearts, they your name stays there, and so that'd be exciting for me to be able to see you. So have a great night. Thank you for engaging with me tonight, and I do hope that you learned something. I do hope that this prompted you to want to grow in your own personality. Have a great night.